Sightings of lake monsters consistently surface around the world. These giant, seemingly prehistoric creatures are reported lurking in the depths of deep waters on nearly every continent, from Scotland's Nessie and Lake Tahoe's Tessie to the Phaya Naga of Thailand and the legendary Lukwata of Africa's Lake Victoria. Are these widespread sightings proof that descendants of dinosaurs still survive? Now, new evidence that these creatures exist is coming from the northeast United States. Lake Champlain stretches for 125 miles along the border of Vermont and New York. Most people don't know this, but it's actually 4 times greater than Scotland's Loch Ness. Many people here do believe that there is some sort of undiscovered sea creature lurking about. I'm on my way to meet cryptozoologist Nick Valenzuela, who believes that newly discovered information could in fact confirm the existence of a champ-like animal in the lake. It's a beautiful lake. See champ yet?
You know, I think if I jumped out there, I'd see something. I love cryptozoology because I've been fascinated with the unknown ever since I was young. The idea that there's hidden creatures out there that science has kind of deemed nonsense is really what drives me. There's been over 600 sightings from people in this area claim to see something that really looks like a sea monster. The world's a very big place, a lot of places to hide. I think this lake, as deep and wide and vast as it is, might just be the perfect spot to hide.
So why look into it now?
There's a champ researcher, Katie Elizabeth. She has brand new evidence. I'd love for you to take a look at it, get your professional opinion, and figure out what it is.
I don't think I'm ready to discount that there may be something out there that we don't know about. New species are discovered every day, so who are we to say that we know every single thing that exists in this lake? There's a lot to dig into here. But before we check out the new evidence, we're going to learn more about the champ sightings. The Echo Leahy Center is a science center right on Lake Champlain with a deep connection to champ. Local historian Thea Lewis is meeting us here to give us a breakdown on the lake monster. How long do these stories go back in history?
They go back so far. Champ predates the visit to Lake Champlain of Samuel de Champlain.
And Champlain claimed that he saw the monster, correct?
He did, and there have been so many sightings since then. Not too far from here, a young gentleman caught some video. He saw the water begin to churl and saw these telltale humps. It was a major news story.
Can you tell us about Sandra Mansi?
The very first credible photo of Champ was taken by Sandra Mansi back in the late 70s at a time when people weren't using Photoshop to doctor things. The photo is housed now at the Echo Lake and Science Center. The photo is right over here. When scientists looked at this photo, they were astonished.
Quite the photo.
And this is Sandra.
What do you think Champ could possibly be if he does exist?
One of the most common theories is that Champ is a plesiosaur, which would make sense and fall in line with the Mansi photo. Plesiosaurs were actually air breathers, so they would have to come up to the surface of the lake.
I understand why people could think the Mansi photograph shows a sea creature. It does seem to match the profile of a swimming dinosaur. But I need more scientific data, and I know who has it. Benjamin Radford is an investigative journalist with more than 20 books to his credit, including Lake Monster Mysteries. His science-based analysis of paranormal claims is taught as curriculum at several universities. I wanted to ask you about unknown sea creatures. How often is it that we discover new ones?
It's possible we can still discover something large. It's less and less likely with each passing year. Most of what people are finding are small animals. That being said, unusual, remarkable animals are still being found. For example, off the coast of Australia recently, there was what's called a siphonophore, which is like 150 feet long, this really long, stringy collection of individual animals that have sort of become a colony, like a jellyfish.
Now, I know that there's a lot of the ocean that is yet to be explored, but how about lakes?
Well, a lake presents an interesting challenge. Many of these lakes are very deep and narrow, so they're not easy to explore. These are deep lakes, they're murky, and it's hard to know what's inside.
What about Lake Champlain?
Many lakes, including Lake Champlain, were once connected to the ocean. In theory, it's possible that something had swum in there and had remained in that lake after it became landlocked. Lake Champlain is the original American lake monster. It's a fascinating story. I've done lots of research there. I got photos, interviews, evidence, and I'll be happy to send it to you.
I'd love to look at it. After seeing Ben's example of a newly discovered sea creature, I'm reminded that Champ may not be as rare as we think. Legends of creatures lurking around the world stretch from Nessie and Morag in Scotland, the Lagerflat worm in Iceland, and the Lariosauro in Lake Como in Italy. Others, such as the alleged plesiosaur caught by a Japanese trawler close to New Zealand, caused a sensation in the late 70s. As did a suspicious sea creature with a small head and colossal body, which washed up in eastern Canada in 2001. But are these creatures more a threat to us or us to them? Now I'm even more curious to meet the Champ researcher Nick mentioned and see what she's captured. How did you end up getting into cryptozoology?
I grew up in a household with a rich folkloric background. There's an old Mexican tale of there being hidden creatures out there that we don't really know about, that we can't really find, that sometimes science can't really explain, but I just kept diving into the unknown. Now we're going after Champ. There she is. Hey, Katie.
Hey! Cryptozoologist Katie Elizabeth claims to have new evidence that proves the existence of Champ.
There's been many sightings of Champ in the marsh systems around Lake Champlain. So I use these game cameras to go to these hot spots where there have been sightings. Now, this is some of my most convincing evidence. This is a sonar image. This right here is two animate objects. The one on the right-hand side was definitely moving. That's why it's so blurry. So these definitely were live animals. This right here is actually an air bubble followed by little tiny bubbles that the animal was expelling air out of its nose.
Roughly how big would you say these are?
I would say probably around 30 feet, which is a very big specimen.
Now, is there anything that currently exists within the ecosystem that would make this sort of sonar image?
There's no fish, there's no turtles that size. Native tribes talked about the horned serpents with that horse-like head. This is the Mansi photograph enlarged, and here is the horn-like protrusions on top of the head that the native Abenaki and Iroquois tribes talked about.
Native Americans living along Lake Champlain told stories of a mysterious horned serpent that was said to dwell there. The rock and surrounding waters were sacred, and the natives believed these to be the home of a spirit called Tatsakak, which took the form of a giant serpent or lizard. But myths are easily spawned. A species with only a couple of hundred individuals is highly unlikely to have lasted 10 to 12,000 years. Now, these sonar images, is this the only evidence that you have?
Here is a video that I filmed in Button Bay on Lake Champlain, and this was August 9th, 2014.
I got it. Oh my God. It's Champ.
Wow. It's around 20 feet long.
Have you ever seen anything out on the lake that's comparable to the size and width of what's in the video?
No, I have not. I've seen sturgeon in the lake. They can get very, very large, around 7 feet at the largest, but nothing of that size. You start to think to yourself, maybe this is not just a myth that the Native Americans told about. This is actually real. This is Champ.
If we find Champ, this could change what we know about biology forever.
Oh my God. It's Champ.
I know, I see it.
Researcher Katie Elizabeth believes new sonar and video evidence supports the existence of a lake monster dubbed Champ.
Wow, 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 wow.
I'm pretty confident in saying that's Champ. I'm excited to go find him.
The data that Katie collected certainly is intriguing, but I really want to go out on the water and see for myself what we can discover.
Was she?
Here we go, guys. We're gonna go look for Champ.
Let's do it. Do you think there's like an overall connection to things like Nessie, Ogopogo, Champ? You think they're all the same type of creature?
I do. There's so many reports that are very, very similar. There has been reports at Loch Ness. There was also some unknown sounds in Lake Okanagan in British Columbia.
You said your second day here, you had a champ sighting?
Yeah, it was around 15 to 20 feet long, blackish in color, and it moved like a caterpillar on a table. It was so bizarre. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, this isn't an otter, this isn't sturgeon. Sturgeon cannot move in vertical undulation. And I was just amazed. I was so excited that I actually saw something that I could not explain. Right now, we're in about 25, 26 feet of water, looking for anything strange on the sonar here.
Okay.
Especially something long and serpentine,
Okay.
the body shape of Champ.
I do like the science behind it because you can actually see that something is there. Now what it is, I think I would have to actually see something beyond a sonar
Oh, we got
image.
something here.
Oh yeah. It definitely looks quite large, I would say.
It's got the 3 humps on it.
Yeah,
You see
it
that?
does.
Katie?
It does.
I do see that.
Right now we are in about 70 feet of water. And yeah, this imagery here is very interesting. It almost looks like it's suspended off the bottom a little bit. And it looks to appear to have a humped shape, which is very consistent with Champ.
We're out on the lake for the first time. There's a sonar image we captured. It looks exactly like Champ. This is my first time on Lake Champlain. And Katie said this isn't something that she captures or sees very often, so it feels like a breakthrough. Either way, we're feeling really lucky today. What do you think brings them to the surface?
Basically feeding. There's been many reports of these animals with a fish in their mouth, fish jumping about, and then these animals going after the fish, so.
If they are surfacing to find food, shouldn't we be seeing them more often?
Going by studies of crocodiles and alligators, there's been some that can go a year to a year and a half without food. And during the winter time, I believe they go into a torpor like state. So nature has a way.
So Katie, here's the million-dollar question. What exactly do you think Champ is?
I believe, even though they look very much like a plesiosaur, they're definitely not in our known fossil record. There's nothing that's been reported.
You know, Katie had some pretty compelling evidence. She spent so many years researching this. You know, I do think there's something there. The sonar images are really intriguing.
She is very passionate about the subject matter, which I can appreciate, but I really want to talk to some experts in the field, kind of see what their opinion is and go from there. We've come back to the Echo Center to re-examine the Mansi photograph. This is the original Mansi photograph, and it was taken on an Instamatic camera. Now, when you're looking at the blown-up image, it becomes rather blurry, and you can kind of see what you want to see. I want to get a copy of the original so I can see for myself what might be lurking in the image.
What we know about the Sandra Mansi photo is that it is an authentic photo that hasn't been doctored, that was taken in 1977 during a family trip to Lake Champlain.
Echo science educator Nina Ritabino is giving us an exact size copy of their crown jewel.
I'm interested to see what you see in it.
I see a lake monster.
I'm sure you do.
So I believe that photo is real. I think what's in that photo is in the eye of the beholder.
Is Lake Champlain large enough to support a creature like a plesiosaur?
So plesiosaur is a very common theory of what Champ could be, and we know plesiosaurs were a real animal. The challenge with the plesiosaur is that, as far as we know, they stopped existing 66 million years ago.
How likely do you think it is that something exists there, we just haven't identified it yet?
There are certainly examples of animals that have been found that people didn't believe, and today everyone accepts that the platypus existed, but at some point, the platypus was as mysterious as Champ. It was this mammal that laid eggs, is also venomous, and it has a duck bill. And if you heard those reports, you would think that is not a real animal.
So with that being said, you as a woman of hard science, do you believe in Champ?
I believe in the science inquiry of what Champ could be and how a Champ-like animal could live in Lake Champlain.
I think Nina brought up a lot of great points. Over 600 years of stories told about Champ. I don't really think that could be dismissed so easily.
I am someone who's very based in science and facts and figures, but I think there's something to be said about legend or lore or sightings that occur over hundreds of years, and I'm not ready to just discount that right off the bat. Anytime that something endures for that long, I always have to give it a second look. There's so many eyewitness reports that we need to look into it.
Exactly. There have been hundreds of Champ sightings, credible reports that can't easily be dismissed. 2 eyewitnesses from New York, Kyle Miller and Jim Carroll, have agreed to share their experiences.
My wife and I were taking our dogs for a walk. The lake was just like glass, not a ripple on it. The only boat there was this black boat, a little ways off the shore from the Crown Point ruins. There were no features to the boat. There were no masts, no cockpit, no people on board. So very slowly, this thing divided into 2 large humps and submerged under the water. What we saw was 15 to 20 feet long. That would be the part that was out of the water.
And Jim, what was your experience like seeing Champ?
When I was a young kid, we were water skiing. It was dead calm flat. It was perfect for skiing, and I was the observer. And when I looked forward next to the boat, something about that wide and as long as the boat, it was a little 16-foot ski boat, was swimming right next to us. All we saw was sort of a beginning in the center of a hump and then nothing forward and nothing the other way. The guy at the wheel was scared. Whatever it was alive and next to us. And so we spun the wheel and got out and chose not to ski for the rest of that season.
Do you consider yourself now a believer in Champ?
I have no reason not to believe. Whatever it was sentient. This was something that actively avoided us as we were moving. It was swimming alongside the boat. It's something that is alive.